part of the vision of Automation Ladies was the fact that like, and even a little bit before Automation Ladies, but just like a lot of surrounding concepts around Automation Ladies and just like what me and Nikki do. And like we had created a group before that was like women in automation or women in industrial automation. I don't remember what it was called exactly.
Called it girls messing with automation hardware or something like that.
But like what the idea was that like there's a lot of men that we know that are making content where they're just like they have these backgrounds like this. So it was like, what does that take? You know, like
I can do that in an afternoon, right?
So I was like, I mean, what is that? Like, I had to get like a board, you know, and you got to mount it on there, and you got to get some controllers. And my apartment at this point has like, I don't even want to say how many because it's probably dangerous for my safety. But like, there's a lot of PLCs where I live, and it's just a normal thing for me to be able to get. But like, we don't see any content where women have that, and it was just like I just felt like that was an easy thing to solve. So I was like, this is stupid. And so I was like, okay, here, look.
The first time I saw something like that, a lot of PLCs, it's a little like, you know, software guys, when they have a lot of monitors. It's, you know, when you see people with 3 or 4 monitors, it's like, you know, at my first job, long time ago, there was this guy, and, you know, this was before flat screens. This was when you had big screens. He had 3 of them.
Because I have to have both, right? And I'm like, look, I have power supplies.
Yeah, exactly. But he said,
I have different size HMIs and PLCs, multiple.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that he said that he was 3 times more efficient with 3 monitors. And I'm thinking maybe that's equivalent with automation, that you're just, you know, if you have 20 PLCs, you're doing programming 20 times faster.
That's unfortunately not what I was going for, but like that's so funny that so that was the first stigma that I was just like, this is dumb, like can we do something about that real quick? Just like, I'm a girl and there's PLCs there, okay, end of the story. So yeah, moving on. Like, so where are you from?
Welcome to an episode of Automation Ladies.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is on my side. Pleasure is on my side. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Do we call you Jacob or Jakob?
Jacob is fine. Yeah, Jakob is the Swedish version. Jacob is, that works. And if you get it all wrong, I don't care.
But you're Swedish, but you live in Germany.
Yeah, I'm born in Poland, moved to Sweden when I was 2 years old. So
you're Polish.
Lived in Sweden for almost 40 years, and currently living in Germany just by coincidence, basically. You know, it's. The short story is I was on a job here. I installed Tinder on my phone while I was working here, and that's what happened. And then I'm stuck here.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, I criticized.
That's not often the conclusion you hear of Tinder stories, so that's great to hear.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. We should share more of those in the automation community.
Yeah, you only hear the bad stuff about Tinder, but there's good stuff about it too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I wanted to say we are recording this if you're hearing this, and maybe we'll release the video. But we are actually on summer break right now. But Ali scheduled a couple of interviews that we really didn't want to reschedule. And I guess Michael Gromas, we recorded a few weeks ago. My concept of time is completely warped right now. And now we're getting this awesome opportunity to record with Jacob. And we will release these as part of season 4. So if you're listening to this, we're recording in July, about 3 weeks up before OT SkaterCon. So that's also a reason why we needed to take a break from doing tons of podcast content. But yeah, I think sometimes, you know, I wish we could do this all the time, but we can't. So it's hard to schedule these in in lieu of, you know, having to start all over, because it can take a long time to get people on the right, you know, get the schedule together, especially with people like you guys that are super busy, that also make your own content. So we just want to say thank you for being here and give a little context to those that are listening in case we say anything that's timely, that would be weird whenever you're listening to this.
But it's an honor to like talk to you.
It is.
No, pleasure's on my side. I mean, you have, like, what is it called? Freedom Day tomorrow? Not Freedom Day. Independence Day. But I think freedom because whenever I hear USA, America, for me, I think of the bald eagle, you know, and just freedom. Here we come.
I should make a Freedom Day post.
Okay.
with a bald eagle. We actually, like, where I live, there are bald eagles, which is amazing. So I need to like do like a totally like PCE like bald eagle post. Yeah. Okay. I will do that.
Yeah.
And then Allie's Native American like spirit animal. Is that what you call it? Am I saying this all wrong?
No, it's just my name. It's just
your
my
name.
yeah.
Eagle.
Yeah, it's pretty eagle.
Okay,
pretty eagle. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I just realized it's Independence Day. Sorry, I screwed it up. It's not Freedom.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, of course, of the movie I saw like in the 90s or something with Will Smith.
We had another war. We had a civil war, but that was different.
That too. Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Different war. This was like how we got away from England.
So for me, tomorrow is a little bit different because I'm not originally from America. I'm from Iceland. And so not until I moved here did this date have any significance to me other than the fact that it's my dad's birthday.
And you speak Icelandic? You speak Icelandic?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we could probably communicate like...
Not really. I have many childhood friends that are from Iceland, but yeah, their language is on a different level.
Yeah. I speak Spanish and like I understand Portuguese. Like 80% of Portuguese, like I get it. I get what's going on. If you show me a Portuguese conversation, I'm going to understand in general what concepts they were like talking about. And I'm not going to get 100% of it. And like, I even feel, and this is crazy, but like even Italian, I think I know. That one's only 60%, 50, 60, like half of it. But like
you only need the body. You only need the body language.
Yeah, the numbers are the same. Like the emotions there, and same thing with French. Like I understand a lot of French, but I really understand a lot of Portuguese unnaturally. I have no idea what they're saying, but like I do. And so I think it's probably the same thing with you guys. You're just overlapping. You're like, yeah, I know what you're saying. There's enough like.
So there's some words that are similar, and then I think I can probably understand more Swedish than you could understand Icelandic.
Yeah, that's exactly. Right? It's in that. This is usually the direction. It is.
I heard Nikki talk to her dad once in Icelandic, and I would like to hear it again. And like, yeah, see, like that, I don't know any other language, so I can't compare it to anything, so I don't have any reference. And I know a lot of languages, and I've heard a lot of languages, and I know a lot of accents. And her dad has like such a thick accent that I'm not sure what he said, and I'm usually so good. If you have like an Indian accent, I usually can do a good job with your English accent. And if you're like from Mexico or have any kind of Hispanic, like no problem. Accent, but I can tell if someone's from Germany just because I worked for a German company, Probat. They make coffee roasters, Probat Verka. And so after I know German people who came over to live and teach us how to do coffee roasters, like teach Americans how to do that from Germany. Like, that's a really old company, and like our company is younger, the American version. It's like the American branch of that, or was. But yeah, like I don't know where I was going with that.
Icelandic is hard, I think is where you're going with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Not only is the language hard, but the accent is hard as well. And
I'm more intimidated by that than Mandarin and like Cantonese.
I'm more impressed by the fact that, I mean, there's so few Icelandic people that you seldom encounter them across on the other side of the world.
And I know like 3 of them.
Which is statistically quite unlikely.
When we moved here, people would generally ask if we were German. I don't get that anymore as an adult, but I think it's just like the closest thing that people around here knew that sounded, something like that. But anyway, you may appreciate this. We're having at OT Skatacon, this is a promise that I made to Alex Marcy, but I had shared some article about Swedish Saturday candy tradition.
Yeah. Lördagsgodis, the horrible lördagsgodis tradition. Yeah.
We have that in Iceland too. We call it lögadagsnammi.
Okay, sounds almost the same.
Yeah. So some of the things like servietta, like that, you would know what that is in Swedish. So there's random words that are kind of the same. Some traditions overlap, but yeah, we're having a nammi bar at OT Skatacon, and I put in a monster order of candy via DHL from Iceland that's coming on Monday, and I'm so stoked. Yeah. Nobody's gonna want to eat it because it's like soft lakris and
Licorice, I like licorice. Some people are weird.
Licorice with chocolate.
Do you have the concept of lösviktsgodis? So like kind of like, you know, candy you buy just in, you know, one at a time and then you mix it together. Yeah.
So we're calling in English it's called pick and mix.
Yeah.
And I guess they have it at IKEA.
Yeah,
so
we don't. Yeah,
that's right. It's just not a thing here in Germany, and I kind of miss that.
It's it's more European than American.
I miss it too. I mean, we have these candy stores here in the US that like it will be an entire store that is just that
where you can mix. Okay,
put in a bag. But it's not common to find it at any other store.
And this is the thing, like even if you go to some tiny store in northern Sweden, in the middle of nowhere, like literally in northern Sweden, and there's like a population of 100 people, and there's a store, they still have that corner, you know, where you can mix your candy. And
so when I was growing up, and this speaks to inflation as well, I would get 50 kroner, Icelandic kroner, which is equivalent to about 50 cents. And I could go get pick and mix on a Saturday. And my local store, at least close to my grandma's house, they didn't even have a pick your own. It was like in a glass. It was at the reception desk or like the checkout was a glass counter with tiny bowls underneath with candy. And then like the person would reach in with a spoon and
that
pick.
Sounds like Halloween.
And put it in a bag. And so you would either tell them exactly what you want, or you would be like, give me whatever I can have for 50 cents.
Yeah.
And then it would come in a tiny little like green bag. Man, such memories.
Yeah. And now you can afford to buy as much candy as you want, but now you're giving yourself guilty feelings instead for it. So you know, just because you make more money doesn't make you more happy. Unfortunately, I thought as a child, once I work, I'm gonna be able to buy infinite amount of candy.
Yes. And then you realize your priorities change. My kids are in the phase right now. They're like, they see me work and they're like, oh, I want to work too, mommy. They're like, why do you get to do all the fun stuff? Like go to work. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Right?
I mean, I love my work. Don't get me wrong. And I want my kids to see that you can do something that you enjoy. But at the same time, like, the grass is always greener, right? And I think that's one of the things I want people that don't know about automation it's not a perfect career. It's not, you know, I can't say it's all, you know, rainbows and sunshine all the time, but those of us that enjoy it, like we really enjoy it.
And it's not even a paying job.
No, well, it's relative. It depends what you compare to, but I mean, it's very varying. It's extremely varying, and you can make it extremely varying as well, right? If you get bored in one part of it, you know, you can do mechanical design even, you know, you don't have to do anything with directly related to PLCs. I've seen people that really vary, and this is what impresses me a lot with the field of industrial automation, that people work with so many, you know, the knowledge spectrum is so wide, right? Everyone argues about the programming things, right? But real good, you know, PLC automation engineers, they just have I've just seen people that do all kinds of things, and I'm just really impressed by it. And I kind of see that the people that want to have fun, you know, they widen themselves into other areas of industrial automation. So it's fantastically fun, and definitely I know people that have gone from software to industrial automation and the other way around. You know, because it's always like this, it's greener on the other side. But I think industrial automation has much more to offer in terms of variety than the traditional software industry.
I think one of the other differences is the field work is like, it's so hard and so like demanding, I think, that like there's this like forgiveness of people like roughnesses. And so we end up with like a really interesting group of people that can actually do like the field work itself, because it can't just be people that like are used to like offices. Like these are people that are like built to like sit on a bucket or stand all day.
Or a tire or something, a rubber tire.
Exactly. It's not exactly the same as like IT work or like server room work, because at least like the server room has AC to protect the servers, not you. They don't care about you. But like the servers have AC around them to protect them. Like out there, like the equipment just eats your body. Like whatever's coming from that chemical wise, like you just live in that. And like, so it's just a different, like, I guess that's the OT environment. And like, it's just rough.
Yeah, there are some really unpleasant areas, and not just in terms of that kind of like whether it's pretty or not, but also in terms of how I've been in some
But you get to
countries.
be kooky.
Well, no, actually, no. I've been in some countries where I felt like I don't think I want to contribute to this because they've seen humans like
Sure.
replaceables, like disposables. I don't know, where like no safety thinking or anything, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to contribute to this because
industry. Okay.
It's like, okay, they want to save $100, but this might cost someone's arm, because they think that that's just cheaper for us.
Because they have no safety standards. Yeah. Okay.
And that's
we've heard
ethics does matter. Yeah.
Stories. I think one of the speakers at OT SkaterCon was mentioning in the group chat yesterday, like he was sharing some old pictures and he was like, oh yeah, I left this right after I saw this, and he sent us a picture of like some safety interlock that was cut or door in, or I forget. But he was like, yeah, and I think as professionals, especially if we're automation professionals, like we don't necessarily work directly at that plant all of the time. It is good to be in a position to be able to say like, no, I don't want to contribute to this. This is not something that I want to do.
And I know not everyone has that option like I do. Like, I can pick and choose, so I can say nope, not for me. While I know that not everyone is in the situation in the world.
And base that on what you feel has integrity or not. Yeah.
So I do want to try to back up and kind of ask our first normal question.
We haven't had any normal questions yet.
No.
Okay.
And that's okay if you're okay with it. We do these.
I started talking about Tinder, so I don't think I have anything to say. No vote in this.
I talk to the audience sometimes. Audience knows hopefully by now that we don't produce this content specifically for the listeners. I mean, that's a bonus byproduct that people listen and they like our conversations. But Allie and I have always said, even if nobody ever listened to this, it would be worth it for us to spend this time and to do this thing because of these conversations that we get to have, which just personally, like we work so much and we're so busy, and it would be really hard to do this thing as an extra if it wasn't also just fun. And
I had this.
They've already written the comments that are like, I love what you said the other day on whatever post. So like at this point, it's been validated. So even if no one ever listens again, which isn't the case, like we don't care. And so it just comes very authentic content. Like we really I want to know, like I personally have questions about a lot of things regarding your life and back off. And so, go to there.
Let's ask the question and then you can ask all your follow-up questions. Jacob, if you could tell us kind of, and in as much detail as you'd like, the story of how you got to be where you are now and doing what you're doing as it relates to kind of your career and your whatever, your content, your job, the stuff that you're working on now.
I've had luck my whole life, I would say. I'm just a person that constantly has luck, not just on Tinder apparently, but also in general. So I started, I got a computer when I was a kid, and I was very lucky because my parents we were very poor, and I got a computer because my brother really wanted it and he was older, so I was just a small kid that happened to get to sit by it when my brother was out partying with all his friends. And so I got into the computer thing quite early and thought, it was like many other children, when you press a key, the A key on the keyboard, and, you see an A on the screen and you're like, OMG, this is amazing, and you press B and then there's a P. And like, how does that work? It's really, really cool. So I got into computers by luck, I would say. And, it just happens to be that the universe somehow was aligned in such a way after 13.7 billion years of existence. It just happened to happen that somehow computing is very good to work with because it pays well. So and that happened to happen to me, that I got into the IT industry and did some software development in various industries. So I did mostly of my life I've been doing the traditional IT development stuff. So far away, just like you said, Alicia, that it's far away in an office, no dirt, everything is clean toilets, everything is just nice. I can sit on a normal office chair. Yeah, even that, I know, and that's a luxury, right? I've learned not to expect that, and I don't take it for granted anymore. So a really, really nice environment, right? But then I kind of, I just by coincidence, I got into, I applied for a job because I just got tired of what I was doing. And sometimes you get this thing in life, right? That you're like, do I want to do this my whole life? I think this is classic for everyone, right? If you're done,
yeah.
And you're just, you just get this some unpleasant thing over you, and you can just hear a voice somewhere that says like, maybe you should be doing something else.
Across all countries, I think. People.
Yeah, I think so. Like
trying to change. Yep.
Yeah, and it's just as, you get comfortable and like, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years.
And we like challenge.
And you just do the same thing. You don't learn anything new, so nothing special. But I got into industrial automation by chance, and I basically lied on my first interview. They're like, "Do you know what this is?" And I'm like, "Of course, that's easy." Everyone knows what a PLC is, I don't endorse it either. So, and I was like, of course, everyone knows what a PLC is. My mom knows. My grandma, knows what a PLC is, and they were like, cool. And apparently they were desperate to hire us because they hired me. So, or I was just very good at lying, and so that's
my mom actually does know what a PLC is.
Yeah,
but your mom is probably one of the few moms that does.
Well, I mean, she watches my YouTube, so maybe she does know PLC programming now. But she always writes some cute word in my YouTube comments, and I had to delete some of them. I had to delete because she sends these hearts in my YouTube comments, and I'm like, Mom, stop doing that.
My mom had to ask me if it was okay that she likes my LinkedIn content. But that's like, I don't want to embarrass you.
But that's nice that your mom asks, because my mom doesn't ask; she just does. So I think that's okay.
Oh my God!
Yes. No, that's amazing. Parents that love us. I think honestly, I've come to realize
that's so nice
not to take for granted.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I feel shit when I sometimes delete her comments. I don't deserve such a good mom. I don't deserve such a good mom. Yeah. No. So I got into industrial automation, and that's a while ago now, and it's just fun. It's just fun because the absolute number one reason is that you get close to the hardware. You get to real fast moving stuff, and pneumatics and big motors, big drives. It was just a lot of fun. And the thing is, it's not just manufacturing. There's so many other things. And first, when I heard of PLCs, I thought it was only in manufacturing, that it's in factories, but now I just see them everywhere. And there's a big scientific buildings, but there's a big scientific community that's using PLC for all kinds of projects, right? So telescopes is one that I happen to be lucky to work with, but there's many other type of projects, like you have the this big laser.
Anything that moves.
Yeah, exactly, and you can do it. Yeah, there's just so many use cases for them.
Pumps a liquid, literally anything that does anything.
They're everywhere. I see them in the metro, right? And that's the funny thing. Once you got into it, then you, like with anything, you started to see them, right? When I walk on the street and I see someone working on a cabinet fixing the what is the English word? The red green light, that switches between the
traffic light.
And then you say, oh, that's the PLC. And then like a geek, you go there and just curiously look what brand is it? What are they working on? And then suddenly you see them everywhere. And like, I never noticed them before.
There has to be a way to turn on those three colors.
Yeah.
There has to be output somewhere.
I had no idea that like building automation or even HVAC systems. Yeah. So I remember like an episode of Grey's Anatomy, when the AC goes out or something, like the electricity's and they like the doctors try to go fix it, and they go out to this giant panel
oh God.
Like VFDs and all these
relays everywhere. Yeah, VFDs.
I've got a wrench. I'm gonna fix this, and it's funny. But like before, I would have just you just don't think anything about it. You're like,
exactly. And downtime is just very expensive, right? And you feel the torch burning on your neck when something doesn't work. Yeah. No. So that's kind of the thing. It was, and again, I was just lucky and happened to work with this company called Beckhoff. And I just got into it. Luck again. with them, and I noticed that, hey, this is a nice platform to work with, and I can use some of my practices I've been using in my software life, so to speak, because I'm separating these lives a little bit. I mean, they're kind of intertwined, but they're still so separate that I feel like there's one before and after, and so when I got into the automation, there was the before life, and now it's the after the afterlife. Okay, that sounds weird, but but Jakob kind of gave me that options to use some of my practices I had been using from there, which I first took for granted. But then when I looked at other brands and tested some other brands, I realized, okay, I can't take this for granted, because all platforms don't support and give you the options for the practices that you might be used to from the software industry. So and that's the funny thing, right? That we're kind of like in the part now, or right now we're in the situation where companies are slowly starting to adopt some of the practices from the IT industry into OT. And this is, of course, super exciting. And you can basically
convergence.
Yeah, you can convergence, but you can basically make a whole career around this, right? And that's what we're doing, because there's just so much stuff to do and so much stuff to cover.
Do you have what about your childhood before that? How did you know you were even good at math?
I wasn't. I'm not. No, I'm not.
Well, you're good at logic.
Yeah, that's
how
right.
can you program?
Yeah, that's right. But I'm so I went to school. I did engineering and everything, but I hated math. I can tell you, I hated it. And
Interesting.
I hated it, and
that gives everyone hope. You could literally be
and I
successful and hate math.
I mean, my
I hate math too.
Yeah, my nephew's coming here from Sweden tomorrow here to Germany. He's going to stay here with me, and he hates math. And if it was me 20 years ago, I would say no, it's important. But I'm like, no, you can find other ways around it. You don't have to be good
at
math.
There's calculators and there's software.
Yeah, I mean,
it already does it, but you have to trust it. Because if they ask us to verify it, we're screwed.
And there's I guess some certain way of thinking when you've done a lot of math that maybe I also take for granted that I stopped thinking about. But there's just, I would say, a lot of the time I spent at university doing math is really wasted, I would say.
I think it's funny when you ask people that actually know the different maths versus someone off the someone that has no math background whatsoever. They're going to be like, oh my God, you love math. Because the math that we know is probably a lot more math exposure. And that's why we're we hate math. But most people don't know the math that we've even seen just because of the education that we have. So we have the luxury of being we hate math when people actually hate addition and subtraction. And we're talking about I don't like calculus or differential equations.
Right.
So we're being ridiculous.
And then I recently worked with someone that hates math to a point where they don't want to do simple
I don't like tensors. That's differentially. That's third derivative of motion. It's just yeah. So that's the math that I hate.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to go to math. It was the same doing theory in computer science, right? When I think about what I'm doing for everyday work today, it's I really didn't learn this. I really didn't learn the stuff that I wish I had learned at university when I'm doing now, right? So how I'm running a software project and just basic stuff like version control. Okay, it's not basic in the automation industry maybe, but these kind of thing, we didn't discuss that even though it existed. And it was so much theory and so little practice. And this is what I'm feeling.
It was it was hard to relate. How is this related to the real world? We couldn't see it. So
and it was just like a wall. I hit just like a wall when I came out to the industry. I was like,
I think we all did. It's not you. It's all of us.
No, it's everyone.
We're what is this education?
You really feel this slope, right? You think you're smart, and then you realize you're really stupid. You're really stupid. And I still think it's so annoying because every day I feel like I'm getting more and more stupid because I just realize how much I have to learn, and I'm never going to learn a fraction of everything. So it's not just what is it called in Swedish, klyscha. It's not just a thing you say. It's really true. The more stuff you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Oh yeah, cliche.
Cliche. That's the English word. Yeah.
I love that. Yep.
Definitely. Yeah.
No, I think that's very
across all cultures again. Cliches.
Yeah. Yes.
And the fact that you can, if you're ignorant of something, you can very well think that you know, and then, but when you really do start to educate yourself or get insight into something, like the more you realize how little you know. And I've heard very much lately, just from different people, like that we've been interacting with people that are training at OT Skatacon, all kinds of things, like people we talked to in Nashville, that are people that have been in this career for like 20, 30 years, right? And so there's a lot of things they take for granted that they know from practical experience. And now they're training younger engineers coming out of college. And they're like, what are they teaching these kids? They have a whole engineering degree and they don't know the difference between a stepper motor and a servo motor, or like basic industry knowledge that is still not being taught in schools. Unless maybe, I guess, if you go to like a mechatronics program, they would probably teach you that, right? But, and then I've heard the same thing about machining, for instance, like CNC machining and stuff like that. That like the programs they're actually teaching in school, they're not, in many cases, they're like totally unprepared for the commercial side of where the technology is.
And that's been a problem for at least 10 years because they weren't training chemies to do real chemi work. Like you can't train a chemical engineer to go out into the workforce and then not know how to buy a flow meter, not know how to buy equipment. I don't know where to buy a tank. I don't even know how to buy a tank. I don't know anything about sanitary connections. Like you would have to know about actual like plumbing, like standards in that. Like there's just stuff that like maybe they've changed, but like the theory is not enough. And so you just throw these kids out there, and a lot of them don't make it because they're like, I can't do this. Like they literally are proven to be stupid because they are, even though they're not actually stupid. They just, like, we were all very unprepared, thrown into it. And then if we made it, then we're like, look at me, I made it. Like, and the rest of it is like, if you didn't make it, like, you're like, and by the way, I know people like that. I'm like, and it sucks because it's like, you guys got the real education, and then you ended up being like so unsupported in your specific roles that like you were just like, screw it, because it mattered whether or not you had the determination to stay where they're just telling you that you suck, and to also just like fight the fact that you have no idea what you're doing and learn it all from scratch and be like, it's okay, I'm gonna be okay, I'm just gonna learn it from
but I see that as an opportunity for us, because I personally I think it's very fun to get the new young people in and teach them and talk with them, and they come with very, very good ideas. Sometimes, you know, I do a lot of, so I'm running my own business now, right? And I do a lot of pair programming. I sit with, you know, with companies and help them do, you know, we're doing, what problem is it that we're trying to solve? How can we bring the business value? You know, how can we measure it? So it's not just the programming, but it's the business part of it as well. And make like, how can we set up a software development process? How should we organize the software development process to maximize the output, basically, from what we're going to do? And then we do some pair programming sessions to teach them some good practices. And I often encounter, you know, sitting with them and they say something, and I'm like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? You know, this guy is 20, he's half my age, you know, he's 20, in his early 20s. And I'm thinking that's something fantastic. And I love to see the sparkle in their eyes, you know, when they're sitting there and learning something, and they're like, yeah, so this is how it works in the industry. I mean, I literally had a meeting this afternoon.
That's real contribution to society.
No, I mean, it's the pleasure is on my side. The pleasure is on my side, because I could literally, he was literally, I saw on his face, we came to a concept that I'm not going to go into details, but we came into a concept about talking about mocking, which is part of something. When you do test automation, you're creating your mini universe about the function you want to do, and then you mock
simulation, sure.
Yeah, on a low level. And then I saw on him, I literally saw on his face, because we're sitting like you and me are sitting now remotely. I saw it click, you know, and then he did this, and he said, I understand. And the joy for me was like immense. For him as well, of course, but for him as well immense. And so I kind of see that everything that the university doesn't teach means that I get the joy to do that instead.
That's
so what you're saying is feelings matter.
Yeah, of course, definitely. I mean, this is fun,
in
right?
business and in life.
Yeah. And in engineering.
Yeah.
In engineering.
Yeah, and
in
that's
business, in life, in mentorship.
It's a very social activity. You know, I when 20 years ago, I thought it was just all about technology and, you know, learning all the languages, all the tech stacks and everything. Yeah, and that's definitely yeah. And I remember when
really small part.
Yeah, it's a very small part, definitely. So no, I think I agree with you, but I see that still as an opportunity to teach all this young, and not always just young people, of course, but generally young because they're coming from university.
Sure. Or newer people in the industry that are learning. But I think it's a fantastic point that we may, you know, some of us with more experience go, oh, these people aren't being taught what I know. But then on the flip side, like that's a reverse mentoring opportunity because they're going to have all kinds of perspectives and ideas and ways of doing things that they can think of that maybe we haven't. And it doesn't mean they're not good, like just because we didn't think of it.
They know how to use technology. They know how to use social media. They know how to do marketing different. They know a lot of things that we and that are changing. Because like the stuff that we know isn't the only way. And as generations come up, that stuff even changes, including the way that we market. Or market even to new employees, or market to like it's both ends all the time. It's constantly changing, literally based on generation, which is incredible. But we have opportunities to like track all that and use technology if we're willing to change constantly, which we're going to be forced at this point to do anyway.
Definitely, yeah. And the automation industry it's slower than what maybe I was used to in the IT, where you always jumped on the next thing every year or every month, everything, and the latest JavaScript framework and everything. It was always new. This is moving much slower, but that's for a good reason. But yeah, I would still say there's still the variety here in industrial automation is still so big that, you know, you can still spend a lifetime working in it.
So like speaking of let's say platforms, so in the more, I guess, narrow area of, let's say, PLC programming, like you mentioned, some people are like, oh, they're all, you know, there's differences of opinion on how to do that or which platform is best or which software to use. But in the grand scheme of things in automation, it doesn't really matter. If the PLC does the job that it's supposed to, then, you know, and the machine produces what it needs to, then what language you programmed it in, right, is immaterial to, let's say, the plant manager or whoever else. But you specialize in PLC programming, and I feel like I've just, from my limited interaction with your content, because I don't have too much time or a good reason to watch like in-depth PLC programming videos, for instance, myself. I wish
that's a shame. That's a shame, because sorry that I'm interrupting you. That's a shame. You need to help me with the stats, because I literally looked at them before this meeting, and I have 1.1% of my viewers are female viewers. So if you could please watch my videos just to push that number up a little bit.
I would like to watch more of them. And I don't fault you for interrupting my 2-minute compound question / monologue.
Please. We'll get some ladies in there, Jacob.
My question was actually though related to this, because I feel like I've seen content from you talking about, you know, just like the value of sharing what you know, not gating this knowledge, not hoarding the knowledge, thinking that that's going to make us more valuable. And that you've obviously created an extremely successful YouTube channel that gives away tons of knowledge for free consistently. Tell us about, I guess, when did you start your YouTube channel and why, and a little bit about that journey?
So it was a long mental journey. So I'm really gonna shorten this down to the short version, because the long version is terribly long. But the short version was basically no, there's no, Tinder is not involved. It's as far away as Tinder as you can get, and I'm gonna get to it why now. Actually, it's actually the anti-Tinder. It was one of my first automation places I went to, and I'm gonna tell you the story. It was one of the first automation places I went to, and I was working on a project together with a guy, and you know, I was completely new at that machine, and I tried to understand how it worked, and I immediately got the feeling, you know, it doesn't require much of an IQ, but I immediately felt like this guy doesn't want to tell me how this works, because maybe he was afraid I was going to steal his job, as you say, right? Or something. So he didn't want to tell me anything. He didn't show me anything. And I was just asking him, and I got the feeling, okay, he doesn't want to tell me this. And then, you know, we had a problem with the machine, and it didn't work with, and the environment was new for me. I didn't know what to do, and I was just sitting there like a moron, right? And I felt he's not going to tell him anything. I'm probably going to have to do this by my own. Then I went to the toilet. When I came back, he had fixed the machine, and he didn't. And I was like, "What did you do?" And he didn't want to tell me. He didn't want to tell me what he had to do to fix it. And I was okay. And they didn't use version control or anything, so I couldn't check what the change had been since 10 minutes ago or since the last commit. I couldn't do all the stuff I was used to doing in the IT industry. And I encountered this and a couple of other similar things. And then I had this discussion with these people, and I'm not avoiding conflicts. So in Sweden you generally avoid conflicts. I'm not like that. I just asked, like, okay, I'm not gonna use the words I used there because they're not very nice, but I really kind of asked in a not so nice way, why are you doing this? Why don't you know? And basically it was like, no, in this industry you don't do that. You don't share your knowledge, because basically what they said was, I paid a lot of money and it took a lot of time for me to get here, right? And I thought, yeah, but that's not good for the industry. If the industry is going to improve, we have to share. And and so coming from the IT industry, my whole career built on basically watching other people program, watching other people do stuff, right? So okay, I have the books, I have the theory, but most of my knowledge has come from, this sounds really stupid, right? I went to university, but the 99% of the knowledge that I'm actually using to build the stuff I'm building comes from YouTube videos or from open source projects and just other people discussing about software architecture and just this kind of things. And there was nothing like that in automation industry, and that was kind of like it was like this tiny bean that slowly grew and grew in my head, that I have to do something. I have to do something about this, and I'm not just going to be the one that complains. I'm going to do something about it. And eventually I decided, like, Beckhoff it's a fantastic platform. It's a great platform. Technically, it's great. There's all these smart Germans in Ferl, very clever people. Who, if anyone from Beckhoff Ferl watches this, hello, you're very clever and everything. But their Achilles heel is, training. Kind of not training. They have training courses, but like their stuff on the web, it's kind of underwhelming.
And that's a very important part of trying to have a platform.
It is very important. If you're going to have a platform at all, you're going to have to tell people how to use it, and that was the big problem. And I think now, it's been over 3 years since I published the whole Twinket series of videos, the whole course. It's been soon 2 million video views, so over 100,000 people watching it.
Wow.
I would say, there was something missing there, right? There was something missing there. And this was just my way to say that, OT could be, if we want to, a little bit more like the IT industry, where it's like, okay, it's constantly improving, but people are sharing their knowledge and not just keeping it for themselves. It's like, that's the biggest difference between IT. It's not the technology in itself, right? There's a big difference in the applications, what we're doing. Instead of doing web shops, instead of doing medical instruments, then maybe we're doing, factoring. But the biggest difference is in the philosophy of people's head of how you share the stuff you know.
Or the concept of open source has never been huge in one, but has always been growing and getting traction.
And there's many reasons for this. There's many reasons for this. One is technical in OT, because there's so many different platforms and they work completely different. But it's mostly the minds of people, And I literally made a video on YouTube about open source because there was a discussion about open source, and it was like, I can't do this because it's gonna reduce my 401k. So I understand that has something with retirement to do in the US, right? And like all these things, like, that's not how it works, and so that was the story, kind of like, it was maybe not anger but frustration over the industry, and I didn't like it, and I thought, okay, before I die, I should do something, about it. So
I guess we have that in common in being people that don't like to just complain about something with like if then we need to do something about it. We may not solve the problem, but we can at least get ahead, do something. Because we
don't care about 401k.
Maybe it's more important than in the States than here in Europe. Maybe
it is important.
It is important because we don't get any kind of there's no pension from.
There's no guarantee of anything.
Don't do open source then. Don't do, because apparently if you do open source, you lose everything. That's what I learned. And with YouTube, it's the worst thing with YouTube is the anonymous people, because then you see all the stupid stuff.
unless your stock portfolio is just chock full of Rockwell automation, like, how does using open source hurt your retirement?
No, there were some really bad arguments there.
Because some people happen to have that experience.
Yeah, they were not, and they were not very hard to debunk, so to speak. These arguments,
Yeah.
Wow.
So what are some of the craziest, I guess, like comments or things you've gotten about putting the content out there on YouTube? I'm sure there's plenty more people that will complain that you could be giving it for free.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's a little boring. Yeah, it's a little boring. Unfortunately, the most common one, number one, like with like 80% of stuff I get messages and stuff is like, why did you put it out for free? You know, and this is both for the good and bad reasons. So the good reasons is, of course, like, oh my god, thank you very much, it's nice, but why do you do it? I would never do it, but it's nice that you did it, because now I didn't have to pay anything to get this whole course. Thank you. But
that's
there is
wild that they even bring that up instead of just thank you.
Yeah, exactly. But I can still understand that, because, you know, most
thank
of the
you,
content,
by the way.
because no worries. But there's this makes me happy. You know, they give me this nice feedback. Thank you very much, and that's okay. But you know, if you get 1,000 messages and 990 of them are nice, those are not the ones you're gonna remember. You're gonna remember those 10 that, you know, write mean things. And the mean things is, of course, the stuff that actually they're really mean. I mean, they're kind of like writing racist stuff. Even like, people are gonna come from India now and take your course and compete with us here, and you know, why are we doing this now? We're gonna get a mass inflow of new programmers here, and like, yeah, but if this is all you're offering, then maybe, you know, you deserve to be replaced. If your knowledge can be replaced with a YouTube course, which I don't think it can't, because YouTube can only, you know, if you have it can only take a tiny piece of I mean,
it's not easy.
It's not. It's so much more. Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
that too. Exactly, that too. No, so it's just one of the things, but people don't like it, I think, because maybe they paid a lot of money for a course, and now it's available for free. Anyone can get it, and they've confused, and they yeah. So, but again, this is a small fraction, so I'm trying to forget them. But of course, this is what sticks.
Interesting.
I mean, it must be the same. It must be the same for you, right? I don't know. Of course, maybe I'm just not a good person, because I'm trying to focus on the good things, but I don't. You know, it's hard, right, to focus on the.
We get weird messages, but like not often, and like usually it's just targeted at like one of us individually. So like, we're like whatever, and then we block them, and like I definitely have a ton of people blocked, but like, it's percentage wise, it's tiny. It's like 1%, less than 1%.
Yeah, but it's the same for me.
It's hard not to, like, it's more memorable. Like,
it's more memorable.
I really appreciate the positive messages.
We like to make songs. So if people are totally insane, so there was someone that was just like literally telling Nikki that like that he hated her because her last name ends with an S and not a Z. And that is some sort of VIP status. And it was just like, so we made it into a song, because that was the most absurd shit I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm like, and it was just like, I hate you, like, because you're a VIP, and like this other shit. It turned into a song, because I was just like, how do we make fun of how incredibly stupid this is? Like,
we've got
you're giving me a great, fantastic idea. What I should do is I should tunnel all of this stuff, because I have quite some material. I should tunnel it. I took screenshots of everything, because I did it for the reason, because I thought maybe I can use this for something. What I should do is I should make a video about it, just a video about all of this. Yeah,
or like auto-tune yourself singing the comment.
I'm gonna have to invite you for the singing, because I don't want to use my voice for the singing. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Automation ladies is the last time.
Yeah, okay.
We will do it. Honestly, so I think it was last year, or maybe the first year, when we released Automation Ladies. We had just gotten an engineer that we met at Automate made the song for our show and stuff. His name is Sam James, and he's just super
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, Sam.
And we just love nerding out with our friends, like friends meaning people that like we interact with on LinkedIn or whatever. And I think it was Jordan Yates was doing demo videos with Omron at the time. And these Omron interns ended up making more content similar to that. And they had done this kind of, I don't remember if it was a parody or maybe it was just like a how-to demo or something. But I thought it would be fun to do some sort of collab where we would release the videos, but for it to be relevant to Under Automation Ladies, I was like, I bet we could use AI to make you look like a lady. So it would be like your video, but doctored up by us and then released, as a funny version of your video, but still with the original intent that it shows the demo of how the robot works. And I thought this was hilarious. And I sent this message, was like, hey, I have an idea. And they just thought I was insane, I think. So
who did you send that to?
I don't remember at this point who the person was. Somebody, I wouldn't want to call them out like this anyway, but yeah, it's fun to be able to find people that can take this stuff a little bit less seriously, and have some fun with it. So
yeah.
Throw us all your crazy ideas. We will probably immediately agree to collaborate with you.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, I need to use this bad energy for something creative.
So what I did, and actually I was on a marketing roundtable with a group of companies in the industrial automation distribution space. And they actually brought this up as an example, and they asked me to tell them how I successfully handled this terrible comment that said, I hate you. And what I did was I didn't reply to that person at all, but I took a screenshot of the comment and I posted it separately without tagging the person or anything, but I just made a joke of it. And I was just like, hey, watch out. If you come to OT SCADACon, you might get so famous that you get these types of hater comments. And that got a good amount of discussion. It was all positive.
The song is so good.
Yeah.
And then somebody else made the song, right? We didn't make the song. I didn't publish the song.
Right. But that's definitely the answer, right? It's just to take it and totally turn it into a joke. That just hurts them back because they're like, why are you laughing at me? But apparently
I was like,
they get some VIP shit.
Yeah.
Generally, I've been a person in the past that used to care what people think about me. I always want to, be likable and, want to make sure I'm a people pleaser. So it would have probably a few years ago, that would have hurt me really badly for someone on the internet to openly just say, I hate
literally you. The bridge, there's a whole chorus or whatever, and then the bridge is, I hate you.
Yeah, it's not very constructive. It's not very constructive. It's not very constructive.
So stupid.
No, but it is you do have to, if you put yourself out there, you have to have a bit of a thick skin for this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right. And this is something you learn from being a content creator, I would say.
Yeah.
And especially if you put it outside LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you at least got a name and a face. On YouTube, you don't.
I honestly don't. We have a YouTube channel that we stream sometimes directly to YouTube just for the sake of, why not? It's a setting in the software we can stream to our channel. But we haven't done anything yet. We actually just have a team member join that is wanting to learn how to do YouTube stuff. So I was like, hey, you can use our stuff to learn or do whatever. Her name is Lynn. But we haven't really had any exposure on YouTube outside of LinkedIn. So actually now that scares me a little. We might get the general meanness of the internet now versus our sanitized, scrubbed.
But we won't see it.
See what they say.
When will we read it? We won't read it.
That's true. I guess we could just
I won't read it.
Yeah,
I will specifically ask not to be even sent it. And I don't want a notification.
And it's super good at filtering out the worst stuff.
Troll. I got called Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay, is that an insult?
I guess. I don't know. They're like, okay, Larry, and I'm like,
okay. Well, now it looks like we've almost been recording for an hour. So did you have any other burning questions, Ali, that you wanted to make sure to ask before I start wrapping things up?
Yeah, the one thing that I know about Beckoff is that for a while or in the past, people were like, oh my God, they were freaking out about. And this is why maybe because you have an IT background, you didn't care and you just went full force into it. But PC-based PLCs. And at the time, up now, it's been proven. Even Germany has proven it. It's going to work. But in the past, people were freaking out. They're just like, I would never do that because of that. So do you have any comments about like that transition
Yeah,
from
I mean,
people being like,
I understand the worrying, and I can relate to it as well. But it's a little bit like, with great power comes great responsibility. I think, who did say that? Spider-Man said that to his uncle, right? In the Spider-Man movie, you can screw up badly, but it takes quite a lot. And I can just tell from my own experience, because that's the only thing I can tell with from my own experience and my close co-workers and my close contacts I've been working with, that has never been a problem. So, I mean, you can screw it up, but you can screw it up in such a way that I would screw it up anyway on a traditional PLC as well. So I know there's some concerns with certain things like memory leaks and things like that, but the PLC part of that, so kind of like using the traditional PC stuff in a PLC might have some risks, and that's also from the OT security stuff, and also from OT security. But I haven't really never done a comparison, and the reason for that is that this has never been a problem for me. And then I'm including PLCs that I had deployed and that are still running for over 10 years, that are PC based and have never crashed a single time. So
nice.
I don't know. It's like it's always a big discussion. It's just I'm not going into them because it kind of always ends up like a small sandbox thing for children.
It changed over time, but there's all this legacy like knowledge, and people are like remembering and saying that. So it's a lot of word of mouth. So I hear from people that yes are older, they have a lot of word of mouth referencing of like that stuff scaring them, or at least or not working or whatever. But I think it did change, and I think that's why, like, I ask you and you're like, 10 years later it hasn't done anything, like it's perfectly good, I trust it.
Yeah.
But
And I've seen
PLC's older.
I've seen, but again, I'm using, even if there is something, that the advantages of PC-based control is so major that I'm using it for those reasons, and I'm trying to focus on that instead. And that's what has been bringing me value, and what's been bringing my customers a lot of value. And that's weighing much more heavy.
It's a good answer.
I'll give a big shout out to Beckhoff as well, because they are sponsoring OT Skatacon. They're feeding us. So we will also make sure to give our attendees the link to your YouTube channel so that they know that they can get free training there, and a whole lot of good content. So with that in mind, where should people reach you or follow you if they want to either learn from you, see what you're up to, or work with your company? Tell us, like, I guess, who's your ideal client for your company?
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna sound super counterproductive now, but I don't want more work. Okay. I have too much to do. Yep. So I'm trying to hire, and until I manage to find someone appropriate, I don't want any more work. Okay. So it's a first world problem.
Yep. That's funny.
And for everyone else that wants stuff from me, you can get it for free on my YouTube channel. A whole course on Twinka 3 PLC backup programming. I'm giving it away for free. I spent over 700 hours making that course. It's 14 hours of material, very, very thorough for Twinket on all kinds of layers. Go there, it's for free, and you don't have to contact me, you don't have to register. It's on YouTube. You can enable your ad blocker, then I get absolutely zero money. That's fine for me. I couldn't care less.
Like, I just figured out who to delegate that to in my own company. Like, Courtney, you're learning, back off.
So we actually have an ask for you, Jakob. Maybe in the future, as our team starts to do a little bit more on YouTube, maybe we can hit you up for some tips and something along those lines, since you've been doing it for a while.
Definitely, and of course, I'm also out after new type of content on my YouTube channel.
So if we can have someone, we should have an automation lady do your course and then make videos about what they're learning with your course, whether that's Courtney or
Elena.
Yes, I have a list of specific topics I would love to cover, and a focus topic on something where we do it together would be, for example, a great idea. I think that would be appreciated.
Okay, well then, audience, if you're listening, but mostly the three of us, let's make a collaboration like that happen soon. So,
I love that.
Yeah, so people, what is the URL for your YouTube channel, or the handle or the channel name?
It's just my first and last name together, Jakob Sagatowski. So youtube.com/ Jakob Sagatowski.
And then
or you go to my.
We will have your guest profile is on automationladies.io. So if you guys listen to this episode and you're not quite sure how to spell his name, or you can't find it with a simple Google search, which I'm sure if you search Twin Cat, YouTube, Jakob, whatever, you'll find it. But those links will be there in your profile, and you are welcome to update that profile at any time in the future, as well as if you ever do decide that you want additional work once you've scaled up. We do know this problem, in fact, because we're currently scaling PCE to handle a lot more business as PCE has grown as well quite rapidly. Sometimes it's better to say no to work than take on work that you can't handle.
And I feel guilty about it because, you read about all the people getting fired and getting laid off, and and then I just feel guilty right now. Why,
Okay, Jakob.
I think that showcases some of the benefits of your abundance mentality, which is putting that content out there doesn't in fact mean less work for you.
Yep.
No, and absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's how it works in life in general, not just for creating content and sharing knowledge. This is how it works.
Yeah, you put things out there, and the more things come to you. So, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
And I hope this is one of the first of many times that we get a chance to create some content together. So.
And I hope that we can do it in the other direction as well, because I would really love to have something on my channel as well with you.
Yeah.
Great to meet you, Jakob.